Welcome, this is Emily from the Coloring Oasis. So happy to have you join me here for my big reveal, what I colored in December 2022 and January 2023. I'm a little behind doing this video. I did not do this video, what I colored in December, separately at the end of last month, because honestly, December was so busy for me. I only got 7 or 8 pictures started, and I never finished any in December. I had like 7 or 8 works in progress. So, and I had all these holiday events, and I had like 3 viruses because of my grandson, and the whole month was kind of wrecked. So I thought, okay, you know what, I'm going to finish these and do my January ones together, and I'll do a what I colored in both months video all at once. So I have a ton of Etsy printables, some exclusive Patreon pictures, books as well, and this is my only remaining work in progress, I think, that I have not gotten to. This is Debbie Macomber's new Holly Jolly Christmas book, and this is my only work in progress. I'm just like, I just got to get this video done. I can't like wait a few more days until I finish this. Alexa, cancel. So, I don't know why I stopped. Like, I did this one earlier in December, and I was doing this kind of vintage I Love Lucy retro look, and I got to the cookie part, and I just kind of stopped because I always feel like my cookies never look natural, and it's just kind of a buzzkill for me, so it kind of killed it. But I am going to finish this in January. So, I'm sorry, February. So I will definitely be showing that to you in what I colored in February video. For real this time. But I want to start with my printables because they're my favorite. I have so many gorgeous printables. I'm going to start with my Hannah Lynn Patreon printables. My exclusive Hannah Lynn Patreon account pictures. And this would be the first one. And I have I believe the gold one. So I get 2 per month. I think I have all of them here for December, January. I think I'm missing one. I just realized the Nutcracker one. This one I really love. It's just kind of a evening, nighttime out in the woods, sparkly magic one. And I just kind of wanted to do like this vintage retro coat. The red hair I thought would look nice with the green with these darker kind of muted colors. I did a couple of boo-boos on her eyes. I'm having a real bad luck streak with eyes this month because all my white pens are dying, and so like either I'm trying to get the white ink out and it splotches, or it's dry and then it comes out too hard, or it's too faint. So it's, anyway, beyond that, I wanted like an auburn hair. I used my Hoo-Hoo markers for most of this. A lot of my pictures had snow this month, and I hate doing snow. I just haven't really sat down and figured out how to get really good snow colors with pencil. So I tend to either do, even my Posca paint pens, they look chunky. It looks chunky and chalky sometimes. So what I've been doing is giving my snow this magical effect. So I've been actually using, what I do is I do some white. I just do a little bit of like gray and mostly white Prismacolor pencil, and then I'm just literally covering the area with my clear shimmer stickles or my sparkle stickles. There's one called Twilight, to kind of give the snow that sparkling effect. I don't know if you can, I assume you can see it, but I just feel like that's the most natural kind of look I can get. I did a lot of little white paint. I got a little bloppo there. A lot of little white paint, like for like it's trying to make it look like it's snowing. So this was kind of an experiment, but all of these were printed on my Nina paper, which is my favorite paper for printables. I'll link that below with everything you see here. So anyway, this was one of my, I think this was one of the December ones, obviously because of the tree. And I didn't do even traditional like ornaments. I did kind of like woodland colors in the ornaments. So it was okay. I mean, I just get so frustrated with the snow thing. But anyway, I like my other one much better. And this is I think this one is January. And I did this one on my Express blending card. I wanted this one to be more magical, and with kind of this Aurora Borealis Northern Lights look. So I stickled the heck out of this thing. I did actually gray tones in the mountains, purple sky, turquoise, white. These were done in my Winsor Newton alcohol markers, which are my favorites, which are these. And I did these are all light grayscale. All Hannah Lynn's Patreon pictures, if you have the right membership, you can do grayscale. So I like mine in light grayscale. And the polar bear, this was already gray, so I just did a little extra gray. And honestly, I didn't even color it. This is just the white of the paper because I didn't want to mess it up. But yeah, you can see I did even some stickle like jewels in her hair, stickles on her eyeshadow, stickle little irises. I did stickles for that shimmer all over the mountains and the ice. That would be the crystal stickles I showed you in the last one. So I saw someone do something in similar colors and I really liked it, so I wanted to try it out, and I'm really happy how it turned out. So this, I believe, was the January Patreon page, and I love it a lot. And I did like a little ice skating rink here. I don't know if that looks like an ice skating rink, but winter pictures are hard for me, even though it's my favorite time of year. All right, next we have, I think this was another January one. No stickles on this one. This was the sledding snow fun time. I went with the orange and blue. We got navy, neon, light and dark orange. Sometimes I just want like something different, you know, and I Google, you know, popular color palettes on Google, and I'll see like some palette ideas, or if I want to know what goes with orange, and I'll see some Google like palettes of colors together, and I'll just get a vision in my head. And so that's how I did this. This one, I wanted it to look like it's kind of it's kind of metallic, but I wanted it to look like it's all scratched and scraped up. And I used a metallic marker, and then I went over it with like a white pencil and made those kind of streaky, like it's all scratched up look. And for this snow here, like I did do, it's hard to get this in my camera, but I did do some, see it's a little crunchy. I did some of that Posca there. These I just did a little gray and white pencil. So this one's definitely more basic. I didn't even put any makeup on her or anything. She's just going to be kind of like a younger teen maybe. And of course the cafe with the whipped cream. So yeah, those are my 3 Patreon pages from Hannah Lynn. I did not do the Nutcracker one, so I need to get that one done. But let's move on to my Lana Green printables from Etsy. Absolutely gorgeous. I have a lot of them. Let's start with this one. This one was from December. Absolutely gorgeous. The little boy opening Christmas presents. So I knew I wanted to make him African skin tone. I knew I wanted like Christmas morning red pajamas. And then from there, like I brought some of that red into the pillow. But then I'm like, I had no clue what color to do the wall. And the marker I grabbed, I did these in Ohuhus. It was way darker than I thought, because I didn't look at my swatch. I just grabbed one and went by the barrel color. And as soon as I got that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I think that's too dark, considering how dark his skin and the hat is and everything. So I was worried it was going to ruin it, but it looks pretty. I think it looks pretty good. The sky, I love how I did the kind of stormy twilight sky. And this is really, if you can see, just a combination of 2 different markers. It's a very pale gray and a very pale blue alcohol marker. And I just squiggle around a little of the gray, and then I go in the blue, and then I go over it with the gray, and I just kind of go over and over and blend them and make like a mosaic. So this one was really sweet. Kind of the joy of Christmas morning. And I ended up really loving how this window, what's outside, how it looks against that kind of terracotta caramel rust kind of like color background. So I thought, oh wow, like that really looked way better than I thought it was going to. And I did put a little few stickles on the gingerbread guys, if you can see them there. So that's Lana Green, Etsy printable. I love Lana Green's pictures. Here's another Christmas one I did where I left the background white. This would be my Santa girl. The reason I left this white, I don't know. I generally don't leave my backgrounds white, but I have a lot of printables, and sometimes if I have really bright, bold colors, I like it to be white. I've discovered, like I never used to do that ever, but I discovered it really pops out the color. It puts the focus on the characters, the skin tone, the hair. It doesn't distract with the background. So that's why I did that. And I love, for this one, I used my Copic Chows. I always use Copic regular for skin tone, but I use my Copic Chows for all of it, except the snowflakes, which I did just like a very cheap Spectrum Noir marker. And I'm definitely more of a pen and marker girl for sure, because I like the bold colors. And this one I did on my Nina paper as well. And I even did like eyeshadow and stickles on these little fairy girls. A little bit of makeup on them here. With blush and everything. I did a sparkle top. See if you can see like a sparkle glitter pen. Did sparkle around her eyes. Yeah, so sometimes I look back and I think, oh, the white's a little boring. But really, it really brings the center focal to that gorgeous red outfit. So that was my Santa girl. And I did like 4 shades of red and brown for her hair. I love how that turned out. All right, next for Lana Green, this super gorgeous other auburn girl. You might have seen her in a tutorial I did. I hadn't finished it yet, but my tutorial was on how to color skin tone with Copic markers, Caucasian skin tone. I will link that tutorial below. I think I used only 4 colors. You can buy them individually. I linked them in that video. I showed you step by step how to do the skin tones on grayscale or in general. And then I had a second video, how to color. I think I did how to color clothing with Copics and the hair, I think. There's just the clothing flowers, or is that with the hair? I don't remember. But anyway, I love, and then what I like to do a lot is I do marker or pencil, generally marker, a couple of shades, darkest over the eye to lightest for the like blended eyeshadow. And then I go over it with a couple of stickles to give that real like popping kind of 1980s glittery eyeshadow look. I just love that. And then her nails, I don't know if you can see, I put liquid pearl on her nails and it's raised. It's kind of bumpy. So I loved the color theme. And this is another example when I put on white, because I figured if I put like, I wanted to do an orange or yellow background, like with my pan pastels, but I thought it would just take away from that gorgeous hair and the eyes. So, and we'll compare that with my next Lana Green. My next 2 do have colored backgrounds, and you can kind of see how the difference is. So let's go into my next Lana Green. This little girl sipping hot cocoa. She's so cute. So weird to not do makeup though, because she's a younger girl. I tried to do like Hispanic, light Hispanic skin tone. This one I did do 2 colors of pan pastels in the background. So I did bright red pan pastel, and I left a little margin around her and then on the edges, and I went in with the yellow and blended it. This page was an experiment. So her sleeves, her hat, all of these you can tell are water-based mediums, including her shirt. That's why it looks pale and kind of faded. These were done with Arteza water brush pens, which I painted on, I brushed in the brush pens, and I used my Arteza water pen, which is, I have here, this is this. So I use my Arteza, it's basically an Arteza marker, a water-based marker, and then I would color in, and then I would blend it with this, which gives it this watercolor look, which I did with both this one and the next one I'm going to show you. So it does look not as solid, it's a little more faded and kind of crunchy, but I used liquid pearls for this raised look on the mug and did white dots all over it. And the marshmallows, I just did gray and I left them white. And stickles here for that kind of smoky look. But you see what I mean? So you know, these are some kind of, I wanted kind of these retro colors too. But if you look at this gorgeous girl in the white, right? it puts the focus straight to your character, her eye makeup, the focal point of the page, her hair, the flower. Nothing takes it away. But you look at this one, you're just overwhelmed with color all over. Your eye actually goes more to the outside when you first see it than the center character. So that would be the difference between doing these portraits with colored backgrounds or not. I kind of like to do both. I just like a variety. And so if it's just a very simple picture and a really cute girl or pretty makeup or flowers, I just like to leave it plain. Anyway, so these are more of my Lana Greens. I have one more. Another one I did with those, this is another one I did with the Arteza water-based markers with that water pen, except this background, which again was my Pan Pastels, just a magenta color. Actually, it was more like it was kind of purple magenta color. But yeah, of course I did my skin tones with different shades of my Copic markers, mother and daughter. The hair though, it looks, so you can tell, it looks like it's watercolor if you look up close. And it's all bumpy, rough, you know, like a watercolor. The bow is watercolor, the dresses are watercolor, the flowers, butterfly as well, everything. And I don't generally use a lot of water-based mediums because I like a nice smooth finish, and I don't love always that bumpy watercolor feel to pages, but I've been trying to do different things. I do like how it turned out. I could have done this purple all the way around, but I like the white at the bottom. I just thought it was like a nice kind of framed, kind of portraity contrast, if that makes sense. So I believe those are all of my Lana Greens. And I have a ton for February that I'm coloring, so don't miss those. Here's something different. This one is by Katarina Art on Etsy. This was my male Victorian era character. I mean, apparently he's supposed to be Scrooge. I'm like, this guy is way too young and gorgeous and kind of rake. He looks like a character in a historical Victorian romance novel, like a rake. They call him like the rake, you know, like a duke. He kind of reminds me, actually, if you've seen the movie The Man Who Invented Christmas, which is all about Charles Dickens when he wrote A Christmas Carol. He looks a lot like that actor did in that movie playing Charles Dickens during this era, who was the same character who was in Downton Abbey, who played the husband who died, whose name in Downton Abbey I can't remember. Even though I've seen him a bazillion times. Totally just slipped my mind. But anyway, so I'm like, I could have done him all gray and stuff, but his skin was he's just too good looking to be like Scrooge. So I made him more like a Victorian era character in a romance novel. So I was reading this book at the time that I love. It's a novel called Holiday by Gaslight, and it's actually a novella. It's short. I highly recommend it. I'll link that below, but it was it's a romance novel that takes place around the holidays, even though there's not a ton of Christmas in there, but it's more about the romance. But it's right after Prince Albert dies is when it takes place in the Victorian era, and it's all about this very engaging, clean romance. That and a shorter novella that takes place right around the time when Queen Victoria, Albert had set in motion all of these modern day industrialization inventions at the end of the Victorian era, right before he died. This was during the time when they were bringing in like gaslight into houses, and it would cost, I learned from researching after the book, that it would cost about $100,000 our time, how much $100,000 would be to us for a household to put gaslight into their homes back then. So it's a really good novel, really good. I really enjoyed it. But anyway, I was thinking of that character who was described like this when I did this picture, so I colored it to look like him. And I did put stickles here in his little berries on his hat. And the background was done with Spectrum Noir, a very pale gray marker, and an alcohol marker blender. So I just kind of swirled in the gray marker and then went over it with the alcohol blender, and it gave kind of that stormy sky look. So, I don't do a lot of guys, but something different. All right, let's look at my Patreon Christine Caron picture from December. Another one I did with a white background because I loved it so much. I really thought of doing like a blue storm, like a blue snowy sky on this one. I ran out of time, and I just liked the colors and her. I like when you first look at this, right? Doesn't your eye go right toward her lips? I did purple marker and then sparkle stickles on her lips. I totally stickled the heck out of her hat. The berries, the snowflakes. I gave a little blush to the animals. I did the hat and gloves, and you might have seen it in my tutorial where I showed you my Indra limited edition pastel pencils, which are these. That's what I did the hat and gloves in. I don't know if you saw that tutorial. And then I did the rest of these in markers, Copics for the skin, on and on. So I really liked it. If you're not familiar with using stickles, just be sure you always do whatever goes under the stickles with a solid color first. Like if you're going to do, you know, purple stickles, do a similar colored or even a little lighter of a purple marker to cover the area. Put the stickles on top, and I dab in and then just use the tip of the stickle to brush it in. Because if you just have white underneath, you will see bits of white through the stickles. So always put a color underneath your stickles. So this was from, again, my Christina Caron Patreon, and I love how her eyes match her gloves and her hat. All right, next. Oh, wait till you see my Nutcracker girl. This is by Etsy, The Sketch Forest. This is Clara from the Nutcracker. Totally into Nutcracker. I've been reading several renditions of the Nutcracker and retellings of the Nutcracker. I'm still reading 2 of them this month. My absolute favorite one is called The Enchanted Sonata, and then I'm reading one called Midnight in Everwood. These are novels that are fantasy retellings of the Nutcracker, which are totally changed the story, but they're just written in winter, and there are beautiful settings and these snow towns and snow palaces, and the descriptions of the sweet castles and stuff. They're both fantastic novels. So those are my also favorite books. So second time I've read them, but I can put those below as well. But anyway, I wanted to do a Nutcracker, and this one, she looks very mature for a Nutcracker. You know, technically Clara is like a 15-year-old girl in the Nutcracker. In the book Midnight in Everwood, she's an adult that's 22, which is a Victorian era. And she is 15 in The Enchanted Sonata. But anyway, I like how I did her hair kind of this iridescent warm gray with a little brown and a little gray in it, which is a little mature. I wanted her to look a little more mature. So I gave her makeup and everything. Trying to zoom in here. All I did is a little gray border, and I left the snow trees white. Like, I didn't even put anything in there. I thought of putting in my sparkles, but I didn't. I guess I could do that. Just 3 different shades of Ohuhu markers for the pink, with the lightest in the middle, and very simple. I went over her cheeks with some pink pencil. So I will link all these printables below, and you can do these, you know, holiday printables all year round. You don't have to just do them in December. This one is great for winter. This is by Lulu Art Dream on Etsy. This is one of her winter walks. She has, I think, 3 different winter walks printables now. And it's just, they are grayscale with these kind of pencil sketch. You get, so like you see it in the coat, you see it in the skin. So you will see the pencil sketch through what you color. There's 3 different women in snowy outdoor, it looks like European type cities. One looks actually maybe a little more New England. Actually, I think I printed another one to color for February. Do I have that here? Let me see. Yes, no, yes. No, I don't. I will do a video of what I'm going to color in February and show you guys the other printables. But anyway, this one looks like, to me it looks like Rothenburg, Germany, maybe Cologne, which is places that I've been with the buildings. So I kind of wanted to look like that. And I did the snow dots with my Posca. Classic markers, any basic alcohol marker will achieve this look. I just try to do a darker color here where all the darker sketch lines are, and then a lighter of the same shade color all the way down. Same with her hat. And then I bring those colors into her makeup, so it's very coherent. And I did do a little white Posca for the snowy roof. The hair was the most fun, but the hair was a bit tricky. 3 or 4 different shades of browns with some gold. And there's a trick to get the hair to look like this multi-gradient tones of hair. I should do a tutorial on how I do that. It's pretty easy once you've done it a few times. All right, so that again is by Art Dream or something to that effect. Let's look at my Deborah Muller printables because we love Deborah Muller and I love her stuff. These are all from, I believe, her special limited Christmas box, which if you don't have one, you probably can't get now. This is Santa's Workshop. And a lot of bold colors and markers in this one. Actually, very cheap markers in this one. Just trying to use up some ink from some oldies. I came back in, I did navy gray background. You always want to contrast a dark background with a bright or light border or vice versa. So there's contrast. I did stickle her elf outfit to match her eyeshadow. You see I did like some darker green and some lighter green. And I did put a glitter brush pen on her boots to sparkle and some glitter dots on this present just to give it a little panache. So, you know, nothing too fancy, but I love this red Santa sack. I had to go over it like 3 different times to get that real deep, rich red. So I do like that a lot. That was from Deborah's December box, which this one is as well, I think. Yes. This one I wanted kind of a punky retro vintage color palette, kind of 1960s style. I went with the navy orange and purple and some of that mustard yellow. Did make quite a few boo-boos on this one. That's fine. I went in and I tried to add little snowdrops, and I added these little hash white things with Posca, look like more little crosses. I brought the colors of the border and hat into these snowflakes, so there's coherency and fluency. Gave her a bold blue belt here, a real royal blue to really pop out, and some metallic pin for the belt buckle. Put a lot of that gloss on her eyes and her lips. And again, another crummy kind of version of a snow hat at my, this is where I ran out of my Posca pen, my paint here. And then it gets all dry and chunky and I just kind of gave up, but I still like it. Makes me happy. Fun, fun, fun. And I did navy background with a basic Spectrum Noir alcohol marker. All right, I might have seen this one in my tutorial, but I had not finished it yet when I did my how to color African skin tone with Copic markers tutorial. If you've not seen that, I will link that below as well. The colors I list in that video in the comments with the links to where you can buy those individual colors. Like I think I used 3 different browns and a pink, and I listed those colors in that video if you want to purchase them and try that to start mastering African skin tone, because you can use that on any paper. So this one I just wanted that kind of, you know, girly pink lovers Christmas, you know, land of the sweets. I might have just picked like randomly like 5 or 6 different shades of pink, and I did the blue hair to kind of blend in. You could have done purple hair, which would have like looked nice as well, but I wanted it to contrast the hat. Did do some sparkles again. I did on her lips. I did it here on her little jingle bells. And I did the liquid pearls on the snowflake dollops. I did the blue marker first, then the liquid pearl drops, so you don't see any white through. And they are kind of raised, and they do feel like pearls. So I am happy how that turned out. And you see in this one, I didn't bother with white snow. What I did is I used, if you can see here, any alcohol markers you can do this with. I did a medium to light gray, a purplish lavender, you see how it transitions, and then a very, very light gray. Darkest at the tops, work your way lightest toward the bottom, and you can kind of see that gradient, and then they blend really nicely. So just, that's kind of what I did there, very easy. very easy. And this one was also, these must all be from Deborah Muller's box because I don't have any of her PDF books. I only have printed books. Here's another one from her box. This one, the skin turned out to be a disaster. As did her eyes. I don't know what happened. I used something that wasn't my normal Copics. I tried to use some regular markers from Spectrum Noir that were just from a 250 set I have that weren't really designated skin tones, just to kind of try it out. And it just looks all like orangey, like she went in and put on that fake sun lotion like we all used to do to make ourselves look like we have a tan, and then you just look like you're orange. That's how she looks. So, whatever, but I like my kind of tie-dye different pinks background, and I love her coat. And then I just laced on like the heavy kind of goth makeup on there just to make it really pop out. But, you know, whatever, we can't always be, that's the risk, you know, like when you experiment with new things, I should have copied this. I only had one of this page, and I did the skin and I did not like it. So I should have copied it if I was going to experiment in case I didn't like it so I could redo it. But I didn't, so there you go. Lastly, from her box also, the special Christmas box, this is from the 12 Days of Christmas. She had she had all the ones that had all the numbers, like 3 dancing princesses and 5 leaping lords of whatever, and she had like all of those. So I just wanted to do the bird, the quail, or partridge in a pear tree, sorry. So pears were fun. It was fun to do pears. I used like several shades of green and blended in this yellow over it, all alcohol marker. This whole thing was done with alcohol markers except the bell, in which of course I used my stickles and a metallic pen. So kind of fun to do something different. I'm not a huge fan of doing animals, but I'll do them every now and again. But this was my last Deborah Muller printable from her special box. Now we can move into the book since we're on the topic of Deborah Muller. Let me show you from her brand new book, the 2 pages I did for January. She has 2 pages for every month of the year for a color along. If you haven't picked this up, you should probably get this because the whole group is doing 2 pages every month, and you get to share them with the group. And you can get inspiration too and ideas from other people's pictures if you wait and don't start like right at the beginning of the month as well. So I did the New Year's one, and this one I was like really like, I don't think I ever in a coloring book leave the background white. On my printable paper, yes. In a coloring book, I don't think I've done that on any of my pages if I look back like anywhere. I just really wanted to see what happened if I do it very basic with a white background to put all the focus on like the decorations and her cute pink dress. Again, Copic skin tone, and I did use my thick silver stickles for her makeup because it's New Year's and I really wanted that to pop. I used a gray marker, dark gray underneath, and I put that over it. I think I put some stickles on her hat here. And that's it for the stickles, but I just wanted it very basic for the New Year's celebration. Oh, I think I did put it in her earrings, didn't I? Yeah, I did the black liquid pearls, so it looks like they're real jewels. And then I did the Christmas one, which I did prior to this one. Christmas one, and they do bleed through because it's inexpensive Amazon paper. This one was fun. It was just this stormy gray, cold, snowy sky with multiple alcohol markers and a blender. A nice glossy pen over her purple leather. And I love my little poodle. Isn't he cute? I love him. I was really surprised. And I did the snow, and I did do well in the snow here. I did the blue, gray, purple, white again. And I'm starting to really like that look for snow. This gives it a little bit of magical. So, didn't do anything. I just realized, I realized I meant to go back and do this. All of this is uncolored. But I think it pulls it off fine. I should go in there and do a little pencil or something, but I guess I didn't finish that. So that is what I did for January, and I will show you what I'm going to color for February in another video. Let's move on to, I have R.J. Hampton's Christmas Tiny Homes. I don't know why these books are not fully fitting in my camera. They're oversized. First one I've done in here, I did the wreath. This is all done in marker. I tried to outline the evergreen leaves in a really dark so they kind of pop out. I did put stickles on. You can see the little star and in the windows here. You can see that in the windows. The exterior, all of this is pan pastels with green on the outside, going in with a blue and then a lighter blue in the middle, kind of swirled with white to look more like a sky. So it's kind of like a mandala, I guess. But I thought that was the only picture I've done in this book, and I just wanted to start out with something simple. But I thought it was cute. I really like my little snowman there. Isn't cute? A lot of little details in this picture, little tiny homes, but I thought that was really cute. So that is R.J. Hampton's Christmas Tiny Homes. Next I have one that's kind of wet. I just did some touches on it today. This is from Coloring Book Cafe's Christmas Country Town. Love this book, and I did this cottage. I was just struggling with all the white in this book. So it's kind of a wintry, snowy cottage. I wanted a Christmas cottage. So I wanted it to be multiple shades of red, dark and red, you know. I wanted a magic kind of light coming out of the windows. So I did the sparkle on the windows with my stickles over the yellow marker. I got the green sled. What I ended up doing is just, I did a little bit of green flecks in the trees. I left it white. I didn't color it. And then I went in with my white liquid pearl to just put some of this here to look like more like ice. This was totally an experiment. Like, I don't know if you can see that. See, it's like, it's raised and it's bumpy, but I tried to make it look kind of like ice. You see it here too, here, and some dollops down on the ground. This part I just did with a pencil. So I wanted to kind of look, I don't know how it shows on camera, but I wanted it to kind of look like snow and ice. So I thought that turned out pretty good. So this actually is something I'd never done before. I really like it. To use the white liquid pearls. All these liquid pearls I mentioned I use in these videos come in like a 5 set, and I can link that below because I've used them for a lot of effects and I really like them. So I think I might do this again. I could have done like all of it in that, but I wanted it to look like just some of it's icy. And I did do little yellow liquid pearls for the lights, but it's really hard to make lights glow, like glow in coloring pages. But it looks like a very attractive cottage I would not mind hanging out in, so I like that. That's Christmas Country Town by the Coloring Book Cafe. I also did, I should have just shown this already, in Deborah Muller's Sweet Valentine. I did this one early because of the fact that it was a tutorial. You guys might have seen that. I had a tutorial I just did like a week ago where I colored this picture. A lot of it, I colored her hair and dress and showed you how I did it, but this is the completed picture with the black background. You might have also seen me post this in Deborah Muller's group as well. So I stickled the heck out of her with these hearts because it's Valentine's Day. You see in her bow and her earrings and her jewels and her lips. Look at the ones here on her dress. Stickle, stickle, stickle. So you can't really see that in the photo, but you can really see it here. It stickles a lot more. So, and I just used a big old, for my black backgrounds, I used this, which is my Faber-Castell Pit Artist Big Brush Pen. And I can link that below as well. It's one of my favorite black background markers. It covers a lot of expanse and it's super dark. So that's Deborah Muller's new Sweet Valentine Girls. Next I have by Morgana Sky, Christmas Flowers coloring book. I just did one picture in this gray blue winter Russian winter theme right here. This one was fun. This was the first Christmas picture I did, like I think December 1st. It's one of the few I completed before I started getting sick left and right. So I kind of want to start with like a Hanukkah color theme, but then I kind of like the Russian blue winter silver theme. So I just went with a strict gray blue palette, starting with a dark. I use my Spectrum Noir tri-blend markers to do these. Like one marker has 3 different shades of blue. So I did the dark blue, the medium, and the light. I did use a basic light gray marker for the bells, and then I went over these bells with a silver sterling, I think it's called sterling silver metallic paint pen. It was a silver paint pen, and it looks really good for the bells. I did stickles, you can see, for the center of the flower, these little parts. The bow has just stickles all over that wrapping paper, stickles in the blue leaves. Like, I just thought, like, I was tempted to do, oh, blue flowers, but the leaves have to be green, because I always do things in nature traditionally, but I wanted it to be like whatever I wanted. So yeah, the leaves are blue, presents blue. See all those fun stickles and everything. I like this book a lot. I don't know if you guys all have seen this book. I love nature and flowers. So that's the Christmas Flowers by Morgana Sky. Next, I only have about 4 left. From Deborah Muller, From Halloween to Christmas Grayscale Coloring Book. You might have seen back in October, I did the Halloween one, which was this one. And by the way, this paper, I get this on Amazon, this book, but it's very silky. It's great for my markers. I did do Santa Claus. I did. So traditional colors all around with lots of special goodies. Nice rich brown, reddish brown for the oak, like for the wood in the background. The black sky with the stars, ornaments, and I did a green marker within. I went over the letters with the green stickles, and I did a clear translucent sparkle for his glasses. Can you see that? His glasses sparkle. And you can see the letters. So you just colored and go over it with the stickles. And I did a stickle silver bell for his ding ding ding. And I just did like a few shades of gray with a little white in his beard. But I thought that was fun. Can't go wrong with a traditional Santa picture. I did green, more like green landscape in the background, just with snow-tipped tops instead of just all snow, because I just wanted more green in the background to go. Same green here in the present, same green under these sparkles in the evergreen. I tried to tie my colors together. So that is, and this is all marker, no pencil in here. That is From Halloween to Christmas, Grayscale by Deborah Muller. Did I say that right? Okay, love this one. This is, oh, not that one. This one's okay. This is Christmas Traditions. This was a Coloring Heaven special book. I'd never done a Coloring Heaven book before. This is my first. I just went with the most basic one, kind of the Elf on the Shelf one, because I do love Elf on the Shelf. I do not, however, like how mine turned out. Don't know why. I don't know what on earth prompted me to pick like a peach color background. I have no idea what I was thinking. I didn't use my normal skin tones because he's a doll. I used just regular markers that weren't necessarily designated as skin tones. I was pleased with my poinsettias. I love to do multiple shades in one poinsettia, so they kind of stand out. I sparkled there, sparkled the ornament, and just sparkled here in my poinsettias. And I did a metallic for the brackets. Kind of boring, but I mean, there's so many I wanted to do in here, but I was running out of time for December, and I just wanted to do a quick one. That's Christmas Traditions. 2 left. This is Cute Christmas by Jade Summer. I am very happy with the one I did in here because it's different. If I can find it. It is, yay! Tropical Christmas. I don't know why I did this one. I just loved it. I love Hawaii, and I just thought something different. And these easy coloring books, I tend to use my cheaper stuff, like my more like name brand, like $20 for a giant set of marker Amazon sets, you know, like my Cali Arts or something. So I did like out some oranges and medium and light yellow for the sunset, and alcohol markers, and same with the sky. I went over it with a blender, so it kind of looks like it's not all a solid color. Sand I did go over with pencil over the brown. Again, my ornaments, I just did whatever color I wanted, and then I found a coordinating stickle color to stickle over it to give it some sparkle. You can't really make it look bright, but you can make it look sparkly, like they're lights. And I did a little liquid pearls there as well. And I did again for her glasses, the clear stickles, which I can link all these below, but I use them a lot, as you can see. So I thought that was fun, something different. But this is a really fun book. Great for practicing new mediums, great for blending, great if you're a beginner, just fun if you want to do something easy. You can make very basic pictures look very fancy, just so you know. You can do a lot. Doesn't matter how basic the picture is. All right, my last one. Whew, it's more than I thought it was for December, January. This is an Etsy import, Magical Seasons by Lenka Filonenko. I did do a full flip through of this book with her other books I got from Etsy. I'll link that video below as well. Full flip throughs of them, but I did one in here that actually has a lot of meaning to me, because I'm feeling very sad at the time, and I'll tell you. Where is it? I don't know where you are. There it is. Did this one, and you do get 2 of each image. Left it white. So the time I was doing this, my son and now former daughter-in-law were going through a big divorce custody battle. It was almost over in December. They had their hearing early December. And at the last minute, right before the giant hearing, she backed out and decided she didn't want to go to court. So she decided to do a plea bargain to negotiate for child custody with my son through the lawyers, because she was afraid she was going to lose custody when she went to court. And when she left my son and vanished with my grandson back in January, nobody knew where she went. She left her dogs behind. They're dogs that they've had for 4 or 5 years. And they're beautiful, big Newfoundland mix, golden retriever mix. She left the animals behind. So she left them with my son, and he's had them for, in 9 months, been taking care of them. And then she decided in the divorce court, when he finally found her, took her to court to get rights to custody and my son, to his son, my grandson, she decided she wanted one of the dogs after like 9 months of her not seeing them. And they agreed, she backed out of court at the last minute, and they negotiated on the thing with my grandson, something that was fair, but she wanted the male dog, Cooper, and he said no. I mean, the dogs were siblings, and my son's alone now. He works all day. The dogs have each other when he's gone. He didn't want to separate them. He offered her a shared dog parenting plan where she could take both a couple days a week. He'll have both. She said no. She just wants the one dog. That's it. She didn't even care about the other one. And he said no, and they were actually going to have to still go to court just over the dog, even after they agreed on the thing with everything else. And eventually she finally gave in, but I felt very sad for her. She didn't take the parenting plan because she didn't want to have to see him regularly, because she was embarrassed about what she did, how she basically kidnapped my grandson is what she did. But I felt sad because I know she loved that dog. I know that she bonded him, and I know that she'll probably never see him again. And so I did this picture right around after that hearing, because I felt sad. Like, it made me think of how she's always going to love him, and they always will have had that special bond. But part of me still thinks, why didn't she, if she loved him so much, why didn't she take him when she left? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I fall back on that, but I do feel sad for her because I'm very attached to my animals, and I know. So this just made me feel better somehow, and I did think of her, had felt compassion for her. But I know that the dog's well taken care of, and so she can get another dog. But I just, that just made me think of her. But I did silver bells. I just love my silver bells. Those are all stickles. I gave her, and she looks, the Cooper looks just like this. She's blonde. I tried to kind of make it look like them. I did put the makeup on. I gave her the sparkle shadow, put the stickles in her wings, the snow. I just did pencil gray and white, very basic, but this is gorgeous thick cardstock paper, nice and heavy. So it works beautifully with markers. I used my Copics and my Prismacolor Premieres in here, and it was very quick and easy. But this picture actually like will always make me think of that time and what she lost and what they all lost, you know, and that my poor grandson, who was 11 weeks old at the time she left, will grow up never having known his parents together. So that kind of makes me sad. But I particularly was sad about, you know, I felt sad that she lost the dog. I wish she had taken the shared dog parenting plan. I don't think they should have been separated, but you know, it's too bad. But I thought that was pretty, so that made me happy and sad at the same time. I love this book so much. You guys should go check that out. Okay, well, there you go. That's everything I colored in December, January. There are a couple of works in progress I'm still finishing. You'll see next month. I have a giant Amazon supply haul video coming up tomorrow. Please keep an eye out for that. Let me know which one you liked the best, what you think. Thanks for watching. See you in another video.